Oh my goodness, do you know what's going to happen? We are on the verge of the biggest shift of wealth that people have ever seen. Forget about the internet boom, social media, and even the first rise of Bitcoin. The base of a new global financial system is being built by Ripple and XRP. In this system, value can move as easily as information does now. Think about this. Trillions of dollars that were stuck in dusty corners of old financial rails suddenly became free to move around freely, quickly, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Either you'll be able to gain from this shift, or you'll be left looking in the rearview mirror. This is not advice about money. Let's start. Skeptics first say, but the market cap would be bigger than Apple, bigger than Microsoft, bigger than Bitcoin, when people say that XRP could go to $100, $500, or even higher. People who don't really understand how liquidity works in a utility-driven environment have been saying that line for years. The crypto market cap is not a ceiling. It's not a tough stop. In other words, it shows how much money is moving through the economy at any given time. XRP also doesn't just sit there waiting for someone else to buy it for more money like Bitcoin does. XRP helps people connect. It's the pipe that every other pipe connects to. All of these things, dollars, euros, yen, real estate, safe coins, carbon credits, healthcare assets, will need to be able to be cashed out quickly, and XRP is what makes that possible. We were told by ACI Worldwide that they handle $14 trillion every day. Every day, JP Morgan handles more than $10 trillion. Citi has made it clear that they are getting ready for daily volumes of trillions of dollars through blockchain and tokenization. The best part is now here. All of those places don't want internal bank coins. One from Citi, one from JP Morgan, or one from Bank of America won't do. They want cross-bank funding that is fair. This is a link that works across countries, assets, and rails. In this case, the link is XRP. You should pay attention when Ryan Rugg at Citi says that trillions of dollars will flow through this system. You should pay attention when David Cunningham at Citi says that daily world settlement will reach trillions of dollars. Standard Chartered bought in Ripple in 2016, and they keep saying they are working with Ripple. This is a sign that things are going to go badly. Adoption on this size is not small. This is what world settlement is built on. XRP is right in the middle of it all. Take a look at this. Every day, more than $7.5 trillion change hands on the foreign exchange market alone. Every year, $150 to $200 trillion are sent around the world. Interest rates, more than 600 trillion hypothetical. And the market for private assets, like real estate and private finance, is worth more than $290 trillion. There is one thing that all important institutions, regulatory bodies, and central banks agree on. Tokenization will happen soon. How can these trillions of dollars worth of assets be tokenized and moved across broken rails in real time? What asset has the design, throughput, speed, scalability, and relationships to do it? No, not Bitcoin, not Ethereum. XRP. Let's do this one last time to make it clear. It is not just possible for XRP to be worth $100. It has to be done. Figure it out. Let's say that every day we only move $3.5 trillion worth of value through this system. At $32 per XRP, you'd need more than 111 billion tokens that are always being used. That is way more than the total amount of XRP that exists. Not possible. The scheme can only work if the price goes up. It's great that a set supply can meet rising demand around the world. When XRP hits $100, it's not just talk from moonbats. It has to be done. If you keep that price, you'll only use about 35 billion XRP for trillions of transactions every day. For liquidity to grow, the price has to go up as more value flows through the system. The answer is math, not guesswork. Finally, don't forget that Ripple told you the truth. This wasn't made just for fun. The people who built RippleNet and on-demand funding didn't do it just as fun side projects. This was made to change the way money moves around the world. Ripple isn't interested in small wins. It's either 0 or 1. Either they change the way we send money and settle accounts, or they go away. And every action they've taken since the beginning shows that they are accomplishing their goal. Again, think of the world's money system as a web of pipes. The US dollar is in one pipe, euros are in another, yen are in another, tokenized real estate is in another, bonds are in another, and stable coins are in yet another. Those pipes don't connect right now. They are separated. To move value from one place to another, you need to use old, clogged, and pricey equipment. But what if there was a neutral line in the middle that linked them all? Quick, liquid, cheap, and useful everywhere. XRP is that. And XRP grows with the amount of water and trillions of dollars that flow through the system. This is why it's silly to compare XRP's possible market cap to that of Apple, Bitcoin, or Microsoft. Apple is a business. There is only one Microsoft. Bitcoin is a speculation tool that is kept up by stories and big companies. XRP is what makes the whole world financial system work. If you try to compare them, it would be like putting a building up against all the roads, bridges, and ports in the world. It's embarrassing for the person making the case because it shows right away how little they understand. The best part is now here. How fast? Bitcoin doesn't have any. People save, hold on to, and hope for it. XRP moves, it moves quickly. In order to make payments across countries, tokenized treasuries, carbon credits, and stablecoin transactions that need cash, XRP is used. Its market value doesn't stay the same. It gets bigger with use. That's why you don't need bigger nuts. You need more flow, and those rivers are on their way. A lot of money. Trust the BIS when they say that tokenized assets will move toward the token that has the most demand. There is a lot of truth in what the DTCC says about tokenizing reserves. Trust Swift when they say that openness and liquidity are the only way to move forward. All of those pieces come together to make XRP. You can laugh when someone says, but $100 XRP is impossible because of market cap. Since you know the truth, you can do the math. The difference between theory and use is clear to you. You also know that XRP is the key to the future of money. We're still just warming up. If $100 XRP seems like a lot, just wait until you see how the numbers change when the daily volume goes from trillions to tens of trillions. Let's make it bigger now, because $100 in XRP is just the beginning, the very lowest price that must be paid to keep trillions of dollars worth of cash moving. Let's move on to the next level. What takes place when the daily value of the system moves $10 trillion instead of $3 trillion? What happens when treasury tokenized assets, carbon credits, private real estate, and safe coins from the central bank all come together on this network? Let us do the math. If $10 trillion changes hands every day and XRP is still worth $100, you would have to lock up $100 billion in XRP every day just to keep the flows going. That's already more than the total amount in circulation, and that's before you add in retail holders, institutional savings, and escrow that has been locked. It's not possible. The system doesn't work. What then takes place? The price changes. There has to be more liquidity. $200, $300, or $500 per XRP isn't just a dream, it's a must. At $500 XRP, it only takes about 20 billion XRP to process that $10 trillion every day. All of a sudden, the system works well again. This is one of the great things about a stable supply bridge asset. In order for supply and demand to be equal, the price has to go up as more world value flows through it. It's not just a guess that the number will go up. This is a machine. It's math. And the price of XRP is under more pressure when there are more trades. Just think about the foreign exchange market. It handles $7.5 trillion every day, and that number is expected to rise as tokenized currency lines grow. Even if XRP only gets 1% of that, that's $75 billion going through XRP funding pools every day. Even if the price of XRP is $100, that's still way too many tokens every day. It's a lot less than $500, but it lets the system grow even more. Also, don't forget that foreign exchange is only one direction. When you include cross-border transfers, the market is worth $155 trillion a year. There is also tokenized real estate, which is part of a private asset market worth $290 trillion. That's hundreds of trillions more when you count tokenized securities. When you add in derivatives, the number of them goes into the quadrillions, even if only a tiny bit of them ever move on the chain. All of that needs cash on hand. It all needs a neutral layer for settlement. All of this leads to XRP. The DTCC stands for the Depository Trust and Clearing Corporation. Every year, they deal with more than 2 quadrillion worth of stocks. They have recently been trying how well blockchain Rails works for settlement with tokenized U.S. treasuries. That's trillions of dollars every day if even a small part of their clearing traffic starts moving across tokenized platforms. To say it again, you can't run trillions of dollars on broken up bank coins. You need an open bridge. You need XRP. Let's tell it like it is. Most people think that the price of XRP is still low. With 100 XRP, you can stay alive. 500 XRP is a good deal. At 1,000 XRP, there is enough room for world liquidity in the tens of trillions of dollars every day. Also, prices going up is not crazy. They are built into the system mathematically. Some people will say that banks won't need to settle deals with each other because they already have XRP on hand. Yes, that's the point, though. Taking XRP off the market is what banks, corporations, and other institutions do when they lock it up for cash. That means there is less supply for everyone else, which drives prices up again. Imagine that in the future, 20 billion XRP are locked up in institutional settlement pools, 20 billion are owned by regular people, and 10 billion are set aside in the treasuries of different companies. All of a sudden, the amount of float that can be used for live liquidity is very small compared to the trillions that need to move. The only way to make it fair, each coin costs more. Speed is also important here. The 2 to 3 second payment speed of XRP means that the same XRP can be recycled many times a day, but the numbers still don't lie, even when that speed is taken into account. Even with more trades, the price still needs to go up to keep liquidity from getting slowed down. This is the main reason why liquidity hubs are important to central banks, the BIS, and other big institutions. That's why Ripple made XRP, not as a way to speculate, but as a way to make global payment possible. Let us look at an example. By 2030, all tokenized bonds will be worth $30 trillion. That is a modest estimate. It might be more. Let's say that every day, only 10% of those bonds are bought and sold. That is $3 trillion going through every day. You can add $2 trillion from foreign exchange, $1 trillion from cross-border payments, and $500 billion from private assets that have been tokenized. The value every day is already $6.5 trillion. To keep 100 XRP worth of tokens in circulation, you'd need 65 billion of them. Not possible. A 500 XRP coin is equal to 13 billion pieces. Possible. It is equal to 6.5 billion tokens at 1,000 XRP. It's efficiency on a large scale. This is the reason why 100 XRP is a safe bet and 1,000 XRP is not a crazy amount. Because once volumes reach those amounts, the system can't work at lower prices anymore. That level's on the way. Things are being put in place right now. Ripple is working with governments, banks, and payment companies all over the world. As an experiment, tokenization tests are now being used in real life. Cryptocurrencies are going crazy. CBDCs are being tried out. And all of these ecosystems need safety lines for liquidity. Also, let's talk about Bitcoin again, since the difference is so important. The value of Bitcoin's market cap is all guesswork. It doesn't get better as you use it. It doesn't get bigger when people need more cash. It stays the same, relying on stories and cult-like advertising. The market price for XRP changes all the time. It's living. The amount of value going through it grows as more money flows through it. That's the difference between a store of talk and the global financial system's pipes. Think back to the example of the internet. In the early 1990s, some people said the internet would never be able to handle global cloud infrastructure, live games, or streaming videos. It wasn't possible to connect, but as time went on, the system changed, grew, and became more expensive. Today, trillions of dollars pass through online trade every day. For money, Ripple is making the same thing, and XRP is the link. To keep the system running, the price and bandwidth must go up if the demand does. This is no longer an idea. You've heard what was said. Citi is talking about trillions of dollars every day. ACI handles $14 trillion every day. Partnerships are being reaffirmed by Standard Chartered. DTCC is trying clearing with tokens. SWIFT is looking into how 200 countries can work together. The BIS is putting out studies on tokenized assets and liquidity hubs. These aren't just claims made by random YouTubers. These are the organizations that run the world economy, and they are all working together to make this new system work. Thus, when XRP is worth $1, $2, or $3, people laugh and make fun of it. But people stop laughing when the price goes up to $10, $20, or $50. When it hits $100, the haters will finally understand what the early users already knew. The price of XRP isn't set for discussion. The price is set for world liquidity. That's why the math for growth is so important. Because it's not about dreams or hopes. It has to do with the fact that the system needs XRP to become more valuable in order to handle the world economy. Getting 100 XRP is real. A machine's gear is turning. 500 XRP isn't a big deal. It's a tool that keeps supply and demand equal. 1,000 XRP is not a dream. The cost of building a bridge to connect trillions of dollars worth of tokenized value in a financial world that is broken up. We haven't even begun to see what this will look like when swaps, CBDCs, and private assets are fully operational. Because every day the numbers go from trillions to tens of trillions, that's when XRP needs to grow even more than $1,000. We'll go there next. It's not enough to just keep going at $10 trillion a day. Let's go even higher. For the big picture, we need to look at swaps, CBDCs, and tokenizing all global assets. Every day, that's when the numbers start to go into the tens of trillions. XRP isn't just useful, it's becoming necessary infrastructure. Start with the subsets. Global swaps are worth more than $1 quadrillion in value. Of course, not all of that moves every day, but even if just 1% of that starts to settle on tokenized trains, that's still $10 trillion a day on top of everything else we've talked about. Tokenized real estate markets are thought to be worth $290 trillion around the world. Bonds and stocks should be added. Add goods to the list. All of a sudden, you're looking at a machine that settles $20, $30, or even $40 trillion every day. At those levels, $100 worth of XRP is not even close. You would need hundreds of billions of tokens to be used every day, which is not possible with the amount that is available. With a price of $1,000 per XRP, you're effectively managing about $6 to $7 trillion every day. When the system's daily value goes over $20 trillion, though, XRP will have to grow even more. If the price of XRP stays at 5,000, 4 billion tokens will be issued every day, which fits the velocity model. At $10,000 per XRP, the method allows for full scalability for tokenized liquidity around the world. Now think about CBDs now. Digital currencies from the central bank. A lot of central banks around the world are either trying digital currencies, piloting them, or studying them. The IMF has already said that being able to work with other countries will be very important. Now here's the deal. CBDCs are not able to work together directly. They're separate and linked to country systems. To link them, you need a neutral bridge. That's where XRP comes in. Behind the scenes, Ripple has already worked with more than 40 central banks and other monetary bodies. You've seen news stories from Bhutan and Palau, as well as test projects in Asia, Africa, and Europe. Not only is RippleNet promoting XRP as the bridge for banks, but also for governments. And once CBDCs are up and running, digital assets backed by the government worth trillions of dollars will need neutral liquidity lines. XRP is the link. Now we'll talk about tokenized stocks. BlackRock already has tokenized funds up and running. Tokenizing money market funds is what JP Morgan has done. Goldman Sachs is making tools for tokenization. Tests of tokenization are being done by Citi, HSBC, and BNY Mellon. These aren't little moves. These are asset managers with trillions of dollars who are getting ready to push a lot of cash through blockchain. Another thing is that all of these tokenized systems are broken up unless they are connected. XRP is that bridge. Put everything together, $20 to $40 trillion in daily payment value for currencies, bonds, stocks, real estate, derivatives, and central bank funds. It's too big for a single bank token to handle. There is no proof of work product that can grow quickly enough. Only a neutral product with a fixed supply and a fast settlement rate like XRP can do it. And that can only happen if the price of XRP is high enough to make the market liquid. That's not just a guess. That's how the system stays alive. People don't see the bigger picture when they laugh at 100 XRP. People who say 1,000 XRP is impossible haven't done the math. And when they say 10,000 XRP is just a dream, they're missing the fact that the financial system can't work without a scalable bridge. XRP isn't trying to be new. As the world's finances get stronger, XRP is going up. Even worse, the weight is rising. There won't be tokenization. It's already here. CBDCs are not just an idea. They are being put in place. There is a real internet of worth out there. It's being built now. XRP is the most important part of that machine. This is why placing early is important. When the market for cash goes through the roof, XRP won't wait for people to catch up. The change will happen quickly. The reassessment will be very rough.